Welcome back, everybody, to DLC Required, a podcast where gamers talk about gaming and whatever gamers talk about. We have TweetyExpert joining us this week. We have a very I wouldn't say nonsensical, actually. This is one of the most probably linear, coherent conversations we may have had on here, which, says something. I saw you were a math major, right? Like that was one of your things.
I was a computer engineering major and then got a math minor.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hot science people, I don't understand all the time. My sister does it. Like my best friends growing up, like all of my friends have degrees in some form of engineering and doing something. And I'm sitting here like, I was a theater kid and I was writing screenplays. I like can't. And so it's like these math lectures where I feel like I'm watching these videos and I'm like, this is too much math for me. Like I can't look at this and everything just... It's too crowded.
Weird. Like editing is kind of has that same similarity of like, you know what you want to do, but how do you do it? Like, so it's like all of this middle ground. It's not what you're trying to get to the end product. It's like just the process of how to get there. So it's like the same thing of like coding or anything like that. It's like similar, like you know what you want, but how do you even get there is the whole process.
That's my whole problem. Because I grew up like acting, writing, like all whatever. And so I feel like a lot of my stuff, I see like the director brain vision of this is the shot, this is thing. And then I go, okay, we'll do it. Like edit. I'm like, I don't.
How?
Things that, no, nightmare.
No.
Have you tried CapCut?
I've not, but I've seen it a bunch on stuff.
So I see it a bunch on TikTok when I was first like caving. And so back... God, I forget how long ago now. It was almost like a year ago. I feel like I downloaded it for a client at the time when I was just like trying to cut their weird real TikTok stuff they wanted. And I just wanted to do it on my computer. And then I realized the desktop app it's free. They also have a pro version where you get some assets, has a full-fledged editing software. Like it is so easy. Like it is literally just, here's the timeline. Cut. Do you want to clear all the ums and the pauses? Great. Give us a second. I'm like, oh my God, this has just been sitting here. Like it is by far the easiest because I have Adobe, unfortunately, because I'm locked in with them and I'm trying not to be all the time, but I need that Adobe Acrobat and it chains me to everything else. And so, I can't. But editing software.
I've thought about it. I've been trying to, after I've gotten so aggravated with Vegas, I just like, I need something else.
No, serious props for using Vegas. Like I saw someone talk about on Twitter not too long ago where I was like,
too.
Yeah.
He also is having it crash all the time. So I saw him and I saw all the other things. I'm like, okay, if he's having this problem, I'm just gonna give up and just go elsewhere.
Because he went DaVinci too, right? I think
so,
I think that's what I saw.
So they have the free version and it has like 90% of everything. And then you pay, I think it's $300 for their studio version. And then it's lifetime. So you're done for whatever updates they have.
I was like, they give you the updates. Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah. That's why it's like, it's a really good deal to like get into it and learn the software, and you can do it for free and have most of the everything that you ever want.
That's what kills me. The screenwriting software that like it's industry standard is like every single release you have to rebuy. You get a somewhat discount, like $20 or what. I'm like, no, this is like a $200 software.
Crazy. That was Vegas. I was just like, I don't feel like doing that.
Yeah, no.
And not much changes.
I would say it's the glamour of content creation, but I feel like people who I never thought would be like dealing with content will message me and be like, hey, how do I edit a video? And I'm like why are you editing videos and what do you need? And I don't like, my mom works in healthcare and the things I'll get randomly just questions. I'm like, you're not gonna do this. Don't worry about it. Just send it to me every time. Yeah. I can't even remember what originally got me into editing at all. I wish I had that gene still, but I learned to code back on MySpace. Making layouts is always like my thing. I tell my boss that every time she's like, hey, you can do this. I'm like, okay, let's preface. I learned this from MySpace. Like this is not a formal thing at all. But it just like fascinates me, the intersection with how many people in the community, the Twitch in general, but also just like the more FPS and Borderlands kind of area where so many people do have this like dev coding background that just is amazing.
Interesting how there's some overlap for whatever, like getting into builds or the intricacies.
Yeah.
That word, whatever. Into like then doing stuff in Borderlands, I could definitely see it because it's like micromanaging all the things, min-maxing type of stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
Like it gets into your brain and you want to learn more about it.
Borderlands is seriously a brainworm. Yeah. Did you ever do any modding or anything like that?
Not too much. I didn't like actually do any
Yeah.
modding into it, because that seemed like a whole other
It
section.
does. Every time I convince myself I want to get into it, like I taught myself back when like The Sims first came out, those like Sims 2, I was figuring out tiny little custom content, tiny little mods. And then I look at any game now where I'm like, I feel like I could crack it. And then I try to look in a file. I'm like, you have no idea what you're doing. This is hyperfixation and a prayer. It's not, this is not one of these things.
Bossing too close to the sun.
All the time. I feel like I'm very ADHD. I don't know about you, but I feel like my biggest, it's the bit where you just have this like new hobby or hyperfixation or something that vaguely interests you and it takes over your life and then you're done with it by the time you're done with it. Like,
yeah, you go through it. But then I'm like, I learned all the things and now I don't want to go do what I actually set out to do.
No, literally. But it's why people just in job situations will assume I know things because I feel like I just know so many random stuff from the different crafts through the years, or suddenly like, I want to be a coder. I want to do this. I want to be a game writer. I'm an actor, like everything. And so I was at dinner with my boss, like last month or whatever. And she asked me like randomly, oh, where did you go to college, by the way? I'm like, oh, I didn't. And she was like, oh, like just no idea. I'm like, I thought people knew this. Like I Google. I'm a millennial. Google what you ask me.
Out there.
I find it. There. If no one knows how to do it and we need this done, I go, oh, well, this has to get done. It's a task. I'm going to literally do that task. I will Google how to do it. I feel like it's a gamer trait a little bit. I feel like.
Yeah, you just like, I'll figure it out.
We have a mission. There needs to be an objective. We check it off. We turn it in. And that's it.
I don't feel like handing it off to somebody else, or like I know what has to be done.
Yeah.
I don't know really how to do it, but we're going to figure it out.
And I feel like it's going to take more effort, like delegating it to someone else, or then like
you got to explain it. And
then I don't know how to explain it well. And then I have to sit down and make myself, okay, like I know how it works in my brain, but then you need to focus long enough to send this. And then I could just be doing it.
Yeah. At that point,
we love burnout.
Too many steps in that point.
It's amazing.
I totally understand.
It's amazing. What all have you been playing lately? I know you've been in Tarkov a lot that I've seen.
So a lot of Tarkov stuff.
Yeah.
The Tarkov has come out last 2 months with an arena-based game. So it's pretty much, we call it Tarkod. So Call of Duty, fast-paced games where it's like a 5v5 and just short team deathmatch type of matches and stuff. So have the fighting and stuff that is in Tarkov and brings it in a short form kind of loop, but it is new and not really balanced, right? It's gonna take a while for them to figure that one out. It's fun, but it's like time invested equals the success that you can have, because as you gain XP and stuff, you get unlock better kits and stuff, and bullets make a big difference.
Is there a cap you reach at a point?
There is, but like as you go higher in the tree, you unlock higher kits and stuff and just better stuff. But the problem is if you ever want to switch, you have to go back down to like a bad kit, like bad bullets and stuff. And you are matchmake with the people that still have the higher kits, and you are screwed.
Yeah.
They have armor that your bullets can't even penetrate. So you are
you're just dead.
You're literally just dead. Can't do anything. So it's just like it has some edges that it needs to be shapen up. But like the overall, it's fun with friends and stuff like that, and just being able to combat, because Tarkov overall has so many layers for anyone to get involved and into. Like you could be playing the game for 1,000 hours and still not really know what you're doing. It's one of those games. So many, like when you're involved, you have to be involved.
Yeah, there's no like 1 foot in or just kind of dabbling. That's what's so intimidating about it. I've never played it. I like don't even, I'm assuming there's like a competitive esport kind of thing for it.
They do. They run like tournaments and stuff. But there's not like a certain setting or anything
like a rank or anything like that.
You just literally pick a map and a time.
Oh my God.
That's So you go, there's like nighttime and then daytime.
That's amazing, but also horrifying, because like that MMR trust would be.
There's no MMR.
None?
Skill-based matchmaking. No, there's zero. So you can also you queue in as max of 5 people.
Yeah.
And you can be a solo person and also be in the map with a teams of 5. But there's no HUD, so those teams of 5
won't know.
Kill each other because they don't know who's who, and they can't communicate it enough. So you actually have a disadvantage because of the fact that you don't know who's your teammate and who's not.
Oh my God. There's
a lot of like layers.
There's like literal friendly fire.
You can absolutely kill your teammates.
I would just sabotage. I would be a troll.
So it's actually better to run with only just one other person, or maybe two, like have a group of 3. Because if you have communication enough. Because otherwise, if you can be the best player and you can communicate everything, but if your teammate doesn't know call outs, doesn't know anything, you will kill them because you don't know where they are.
Fucking Fortnite is overwhelming for me to get into because people like try to make me, and then I open the Epic me. I'm like, this UI, I can't process. There's a lot, and I just remember the one time I tried to play, I kept like trying to like do anything, and I would just start building stairs, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I feel I'm building stairs. Maybe it's helpful. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep hiding, and that's all I'm doing. And I feel like that's me with games like Tarkov and stuff, where I wasn't around anyone who was into it. And then I only got PC together, like, I think it sounded like 2 years ago, a year ago, I don't remember, but I was PlayStation before then. And like between roommates and stuff, I just never got into the PvP because I couldn't until I was living alone and, you know, all that stuff. And so I feel like now I look at it, I'm like, this is so overwhelming. There is so much. And like you're saying, so many layers to get into.
So many. That's not even counting the game, like itself. That's just like you in a team or you against people,
like the game sense alone.
Like, yeah, then you have your inventory management that they call Tetris, because everything you bring out of raid goes into what's called your stash, and you only have a set box where it can be.
I hate when games like Baldur's Gate does that, and it drives me insane. I'm like, stop it.
So you have to find the space and Tetris it and move them all around and sort them and sell them on like with a black market that you can sell.
Oh yeah, very Resident Evil, old school kind of vibes. I like that. I like that.
So I've made millions in the game by just selling stuff on the black market, and that's a thing of like making money so you can buy stuff that you actually want to run.
An in-game economy, friendly fire, like insane.
Healing, you have to do heavy bleeds, light bleeds, splints, broken legs, blacked out limbs.
So there's different types of injuries, not even just like, oh, you got shot in your...
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing, but insane.
All your separate body parts. So like your stomach, your thorax, your arms, your head, your legs. And now they just did, so those used to be just overall your sections of your body, but now they've introduced hit boxes in those sections. So you can get armpitted because your bullet just hits your armpit and you just die.
I need to meet these devs.
You can get buttocks, which was my favorite one that happened this swipe so far. They just shot me too much in the butt and I died.
I literally just want to see like fly on the wall in that room when people are pitching these ideas. Like, okay, armpit shot.
Apparently, Tarkov was one of those games that's just in beta still, technically.
How long has it been out, like in beta? Like,
so
I was like, I feel like I've heard about it for years. Yeah.
And apparently all the like quests and stuff that they have right now are what they say are only side quests for what is their plan and vision for the game. But I'm like, that's so far away.
That's so far away. Every time I look at a roadmap for something that's been out, like DBD, I just like the rage in my body. I'm like, okay, sure. Sure, that's fine.
I just started installing DBD actually today because some people wanted to play it.
I'm so sorry.
I played, so between the point of Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands, I then played a lot of Dead by Daylight. I think I have like 700 hours. So a decent chunk, not like insane, but Dead by Daylight's one of those ones I think it's like it's like, okay, I could do it, but you don't know the skill cap of like,
no.
Every game has like this weird random skill cap that you don't know what it looks like on when you
talk about a game with no MMR. Like no matter what they say, my God, absolutely not. Especially lately. One of the most embarrassing bits about me is when I like first got the PS5 and was like, I'm gonna like try PvP because I was just so like whatever. Yeah. And I was always like watching Dead by Daylight. I mod for a friend who was a DBD streamer, like now Texas Chainsaw, like all this stuff. So I like knew it. I was around it, but my laptop was never able to run it. Like I remember one map, it was like I kind of like walked and then I like rubber band into a locker and I was like, I'm gonna stay here. Like I just don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what to do. I
just hid, and then the bird saw me and no one knew how to do anything anyway. It was years ago. Right. And so I started playing it in May that year or something. And by December, when I got the PlayStation little wrap thing, I had over 1,000 hours in it. And I was like, oh, Okay. I hate myself a little bit because even just the Borderlands hours next to that from like casually playing, I was just like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is a problem. But then the thing that bothers me most with that is as like Matt, like no one who plays DBD likes DBD. I think Karma and I were talking a bit about that where it's just like
Tarkov is the same. Nobody likes
you just
pain all around.
Yeah. Exactly. It's part of it.
It really is.
But like when I got the PC, I thought it would be fine that nothing transferred. I was like, I'll just rebuy the DLCs, like whatever. My girlfriend and I like family shared and now they like yanked those and whatever. Right. The blood point grind to do it again, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I'm like, there's no
system.
But it doesn't even matter at that point because it's like, yes, it's faster, but like all it is you're getting the skills. You're not like you're saying you get better ammo, you get better stuff. Like once you have the skills, you have it and you can buy it in the fucking shrine if it's there. So I'm just having to re-grind 35 characters, whatever it is to like,
oh my God.
So, and these matches are so insane. And so I like will load in and be like, okay, I suck at this on keyboard. I thought I was like pretty sweaty sometimes on controller. I got a little ego. I was a Meg main. I was really annoying. And then
Meg too.
Oh yeah, you get it. I cosplayed Meg. And I cosplayed Meg and my girlfriend cosplayed Legion at a con like last year.
God,
and we were like, great. We are the two most hated DBD characters. Let's go. Like that is what we're doing today. And so you embrace it. And I like had every cosmetic, all that crap. And then I loaded, I'm like, well, I don't want to just like rebuy or redo all this. And so I'm like sitting here like playing Leon over and over, like trying to just like farm stuff. I'm like, what is this worth? Because I log in for a game and then I either die immediately because everyone like, does their thing or someone is just farming points or nothing happens. I'm just like, I don't understand how I spent.
Wide range of like what you can encounter in that
exactly
game is so vast. Even just like how people are like just either throwing or they're tunneling or whatever. Like you hit a weird range of like you never know what somebody's going to be trying to do because it throws the entire game into a completely separate category.
It really does. And I'm like, the games are good are like fun. And that's the thing where I'm like, no, I want to keep chasing that. Like I had one game last like 40 minutes and I was like, I started it before I had to like go somewhere. I'm like, I have a minute. It's fine. I'll do a quick round. And it never, and I'm like, I need to leave for this appointment and I still will not leave right now because I need to finish this. But most of them, are chill or whatever. But I feel like every time I log on now, it's the same thing. And at least like when I get mad at like Overwatch or whatever, it's like different. Like it's slightly different. And so, I just noticed the fucking tomato soup on my chair. My brain just like stopped. That was fucking from a meeting earlier. My dog tried to jump in my lap and my boss had sent me soup because of my throat. And I just I didn't even see it. Oh my God. I was like, what the fuck is that? ADHD at its finest. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, no, I hate that I said the same with Nick Cage that it was going to pull me back in, but I feel like I've wanted Alan Wake for so long when people were throwing around crossovers. I was like, please.
Right,
like it's going to pull me back. And I just haven't bought the DLC and made myself go because it was like this week and I was sick. But I feel like if anything's going to get me back in DBD, it's going to be the fact that I just get more Alan Wake lore, even just in the tiny little voice lines. And I'm like, please.
I just played Alan Wake last October or this October.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
First time, never knew, didn't know anything. I played Control before, so I
fucking love Control.
A little bit. I loved it. That was so good.
Fantastic.
So for my birthday, I run a subathon. And I do a lot of spooky games because I get super stressed. Horror games. My anxiety goes crazy.
I love them, but I'm such a little bitch with them. I like can't.
I'm terrified.
I have Outlast memorized. My girlfriend drags me all the time because I have it memorized and I still will like throw the controller to them and be like, you need to play this bit. Like I can't.
It's terrible. Like I just will stop moving and I'm like, I know this is gonna go so bad. Like there's something gonna be in front of me, and then most of the time there's nothing there. But then it's something else.
You just work yourself up with the anticipation over and over again.
It's terrible. So I also wear a heart rate monitor as well.
Nice.
I do, and then I put it to Tarkov as well because during fights and things, my heart rate goes crazy. So I've integrated that into my stream to have my heart rate pretty much on screen all the time, and it just goes crazy all the time.
I love it. So
everyone can see my stress level pretty much. It is a very like high heart rate, high stress.
Have you heard of the horror game Nevermind?
Think so.
I haven't played it, but I bought it immediately when I saw it. And it is a game that monitors your heart rate and pupil dilation and will change as you're getting freaked out.
No, that seems Oh
It has
my
mixed
God.
reviews, so I don't know. I like haven't made myself play it, but I'm also just too scared to play it. But I really want to. But I own it, and those kind of things I was thinking about with the heart monitor, where I'm just like, field day. I can't. I would trust nothing.
Jeez, I'll have to put that on my wish list. That sounds terrifying.
But genius, but terrifying. If it's done right, absolutely. Like things like layers and fear will make me jumpy, but like I can handle like the more like a narrative drawn out, like jump scare kind of stuff. But some like kind of like chase survival kind of things just get under my skin in such a specific way. Gosh. I can't.
Do you play the new Amnesia?
No.
Amnesia the Bunker is.
I feel it. The first Amnesia fucked me up. So it
is a very different like take on Amnesia because you have a gun.
Okay.
There's only one safe place.
Oh, beautiful.
So you are like in a bunker, like a war bunker, and you're stuck inside with a monster that's everywhere, and you make noise, and it will go to one side of the map, and then you have to like go run to the other side of the map to get things and do stuff, and then you have to upkeep with a generator. And I decided to play it on hard mode.
I do that, and I don't know why. Every time it's a good idea. Every time. And
I do like putting games to harder difficulty. I just like that challenge. And I don't care if I die. I don't really get frustrated too often. So I just like play it on the harder difficulty. And that's what I did for Borderlands too, is that I would play challenge runs. That's pretty much the vast majority is how I play Borderlands, was just do challenge runs. And it's a very controversial opinion about Borderlands 2, but I love the peak.
Really?
I love the peak. So the peak to me in Borderlands was like okay, whatever, play Salvador and just do pistols only or something like that. Yeah. Whatever type of challenge runs in that. But I would have it where then that would be my final stand of like testing out if I had the right build to get through it or not. Just the most fun I've had was just getting through the OP levels. And it wasn't the sense of like farming. It's like then going out and once you've leveled up OP levels and stuff and like refarming, that was the kind of sucky part. But like in terms of you then learn how to get through those levels and all those certain things by then knowledge of how they spawn and what they do. So I've gotten through the entire peak with grenades only on Axton.
Holy shit.
Only turrets on Axton. Melee only 0. So there was nothing else.
No deception, no anything.
No, nothing. No, nothing. Only melee.
That's insane.
No. Yeah. So I just enjoyed that so much. Like I didn't really care about killing bosses too much, which I know is like
I'm the same.
Of Borderlands things.
No, I'm the same. It's one of those things where I literally have in my Twitch bio, like I'm probably underleveled on purpose because so many people who are like new will come in. I'm like, I do things like underleveled, like how early in the game can we beat Bloodwing? Level 9, let's go. How many tries does it take? Where it's just brutal because it's how I have fun with it now. And I would agree about Peak at first. Like the first few runs of Peak were fun for me, but once it hits like OP6, I'm just like, this is the fact that you have to use the same gear if you're doing like just a normal run kind of thing and go do like whatever. I'm like, no, I like finding the creative ways to do it. Like I'm a Thoughtlock Maya main and people drag me all the time, but I swear by Thoughtlock. Like it is my baby. And it's just like, it's one of those things where I can be a dumbass and then, hey, Surveyor, heal me or let something else chase off. And it's great. And so it's a different way of playing than people are like used to. Like I die on Salvador and TVHM all the time because I don't know how to use them well. And but normal mode, cakewalk. And it's one of those things where it's just so many different ways. But I do like that 3 had like the difficulty like scale at that point. OP levels, I was like, yes, okay, this is making the base game harder again. So I'm having more fun again. And then I got burned out on like the level scaling just broken in Borderlands. So, I mean, we know this, but like this is old news. But anyway, Amnesia. You said you started on hard mode for the bunker.
Always, every time. And I looked at the reviews because it came out not long before I played it. Like it was part of the like Halloween stuff. Yeah. And I played it near Halloween. So I didn't really know. I mean, games difficulty levels are very determinant on the actual game and what they actually see. So like a hard mode on one game is super difficult or could be like not that bad. It is normal. Like
that's why I appreciate the Last of Us remake having like, hey, this is, you will find less gear, you will find like whatever for each description. Great, I know what I'm doing. Rather than I load into BioShock and it's just like, do you want hard? I'm like, What's hard? What's hard about it?
Hard. Woo!
Let's go. Like, are you gonna just no longer talk to me? Or Big Daddy's gonna be indestructible? Like, what is the catch here? Yeah, basically, yeah. Just run.
Yeah. Man, yeah. So I would put it up to not the hardest difficulty, because then I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna go for my first playthrough. I just put it to like the second hardest, like just one down, because I like the challenge. I don't mind dying. I don't mind just like bashing my head against the wall to like beat a boss that is just really difficult with this, just the items you have and just less of the resources. So I would just always put it a difficulty less. But Amnesia, that is I put it, there's only, I think it's only like easy, normal, hard. And I'm like, well, okay, like, we're going to try this.
I'm not a coward. We're doing hard. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. So you have this generator, in bunker, just in essence, you have a generator and then you run around the bunker. But when the generator's on, the lights are on and the monster's less likely to attack, still attacks, but less likely. When you're in hard mode, you actually don't see much fuel for that generator. You have to find. You don't see much of that fuel at any time. So you, in essence, are running around just in the darkness 90% of the time. Beautiful. And I didn't realize like that's like it's what the experience is going to be like. It was terrifying because anything you do would call the monster over.
Yeah, no, absolutely horrifying.
Oh, awful. But I had a great time, but it was terrifying.
No, I love horror games. I genuinely do. But my God, some just absolutely. They
just hit a certain thing. Some of them are worse than others in terms of like horrifying experience.
What's the scariest one you feel like you've done?
I did Outlast so long ago, but I still feel like it is some of my most terrifying that I've ever been.
There's something about games like that where you can't fight back. Like those type of survival horrors where I'm just like, I genuinely have such a fear of me because I panic melee all the time. I forget melee exists in games until I'm being ambushed. That's who I absolutely will panic, jump, punch me in Last of Us when I'm being ambushed. I'm tired. Joel's just like wailing. It's the worst. I'm like, this is not effective. And so I just like when I get to the point where I'm overwhelmed, it's like, yep, that's my Hail Mary. Here we go. And in Outlast, it's one of those things where I'm like, I wait too long for the coast to be clear, or then I, go the wrong way, or I get lost. I get lost in BioShock all the time, though. Like, it's the moment I think about it, I will be totally fine going where it like assumes I'm gonna go, and then I get turned around once or I die once. I'm suddenly like, I have no idea what I'm doing or where I am.
Speaking of getting lost in Amnesia, the bunker stuff, you don't have a map.
Oh, gorgeous! I would suck. I would just cease to exist. I can't.
But you do have a gun. But because I was on hard mode, you don't find any bullets.
I was like, do you have bullets, though?
You really don't have a gun, to be honest. Jesus. I enjoyed it. I think the next, horror game that I'm looking forward to that I just didn't get around to playing is the Outlast Trials. I don't know if you got around to that one.
Yes.
I didn't, so I don't know much about it, but I've heard some pretty
They
good
just
things.
had a recent update I haven't played. My girlfriend and their friends will play it sometimes, so I've been lurking it, and I own it, and I keep going, just play. I'm like, it looks fun as hell, because it's very much that DVD style, but it's so Outlast and so survival that I'm like, this would keep getting to me in a way that Phasmo did for a while, and then the update again, it'll get back to me. But I played it so much in the launch that I got so I was singing Taylor Swift lyrics and egging on the ghost.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's how it worked for me too.
Yeah. But now if I open up,
terrified.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Played it though in VR.
Ooh.
And that changed it all over again.
I can't even imagine. My girlfriend's brother had just been like, hey, first time reaching out to us, being like, hey, do you want to game? And we're like, sure. And he wanted to try out his new VR. So he's like, let's do Phasmo. You guys had mentioned you have that one. He's like, I was like, you're going to try Phasmo VR for your first VR thing in gaming. So we're on the PC doing whatever. And he's never played the game. And he's just kind of knew about it. And he's like, this is terrifying. You would hear him freaking out in the house. And it was the funniest thing. But I was also just like, I couldn't do it. Partly I get motion sick, but
it was terrifying.
It's amazing.
They've definitely improved their technology over the past.
It's so smart. It's so smart.
The motion sickness stuff too.
Yeah.
They've improved how it keeps you grounded, and it's
I
some
heard
weird
the
stuff.
PS VR 2 is like really good about that because they have some weird people tracking kind of thing going on.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
so
know
I
about
do
that
really
one,
want to
but
try
that's
it.
cool.
We got
Yeah, 'cause I definitely like
yeah.
people that like when that VR stuff started coming out a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff, people was like, oh, let's try it, just something like that, and everyone got sick because it was just the most basic stuff.
Literally. I used to never get motion sick, and now it's like I'll be playing Wonderland sometimes, or like the screen rides from Universal. Like I used to be totally fine, and now I'm just like I cannot. No, like I've been on stream before, just mindlessly like sliding in Borderlands, been like, hold on, I'm fine. I dream of me, and I'm nope. And so I don't know if it's like. Yeah, age, migraines, whatever's happening. But yeah, I have so many VR games. Like we got the PlayStation VR like 1 because we wanted to play the Outlast prequels or not Outlast, Until Dawn prequels. And because we love Until Dawn. And so they were exclusive to that. And it was so cool. But I could only watch other people do it because I tried it like once and I was like, nope, this isn't me. The only thing I got a little bit like okay through was Resident Evil 7 in VR. And that was horrifying. That was absolutely pitch perfect horrifying. Great. It was great.
There was a really want to do Walking Dead. There's a Walking Dead VR game, which is a survival crafting looting type of game.
Amazing.
I love doing it, but I was so terrified of the zombies that I was like, this is not necessarily a horror game. It's just in the zombie universe.
Yeah.
But like you're in a house looting and then you just hear movement and then you have to then deal with zombies and then your hatchet gets stuck in their head or something, so you have to take your other hand and pull it out. Like
the panic.
Or like a horde happened and I didn't know what to do. I just was like, I just want to curl in a corner, but there's nothing there. There's nothing I could do. I was just terrified. And then we went through, like, you go through a crypt as like one of your first areas. I'm like, this is terrifying.
Oh my God, absolutely. That would get to me. I like find monsters and stuff like the reveal I'll usually be like okay with. The Quarry was the first one that like werewolves got really fucking freaky to me. Like those were horrifying. Sure. And then zombies, Last of Us got it well. Last of Us did it well with like the stalkers and the clickers specifically, but the stalkers they're so few in the game, but when they see, I'm just like,
you're just ooh.
I don't. The moment I see one watching from like a thing, I'm like, that is the worst because anything that's like humanoid, I feel like anything that could be like a real life thing will freak me out. And so the When It Goes Until Dawn were pretty freaky, but something about the werewolves and the Quarry really got me. Where I feel like most big bad reveals, like vampires, won't get me.
It was crazy.
It sounds insane. It sounds absolutely.
Any of those just pick your playthrough type of your choices matter. I always pick the wrong decision.
100% of the time. I was going back through like your channel stuff when I was just like looking, because I know I've heard, again, when I talk about some of my favorite games, people will mention you and stuff like that. So I'm like, what are some of these? And it's funny because it's mentioned all the time, because I'll always ask people like near the end, like 5 games, whatever, like made you cry, this favorite time capsule. Walking Dead Telltale will be on there with a lot of the guys specifically. And wasn't that one of the first you started with the Telltale games or something like that? When the
Telltale games. Oh my gosh. I finished it up only a couple years ago, but I love them so much. It's one of actually the first games that I've ever streamed.
It's amazing.
It is so good. And the last game made me very much cry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's literally the one like vocals like full chest. Like, nope, that made me cry. Like that game.
Like, I was done.
Yeah. They're so good though. And there's nothing like Telltale choice based. Like I really do like the Supermassive horror choice. If you haven't done any of the Dark Pictures and stuff like that,
I have. Yes, I destroyed one of, I don't remember which one everyone died. Everyone was dead by the end of it. And then another time, one of them I didn't kill anyone, shockingly.
Amazing. It's very hit or miss.
Such yin-yang.
Well, there's so many that like a trait will be locked behind something where you don't even realize until your second playthrough that like that's how you save someone, or the quick time events, and like it's so all over the place. But like with the Quarry, I was like trying so hard to save everyone first playthrough, and I like the last chapter, everything just went to hell. And it was like one of the last decision I made.
So quick.
I hesitated for half a second and my entire cast was dead. Like everyone left was dead. And I was like, yeah, I can't. They're so good though. But yeah, those choices where I'm like, I will agonize, and they've gotten too smart. I was just talking about this with Matt. We just did a whole episode on Supermassive stuff because we were just like, and Until Dawn days, I used to like quickly like just force quit the app if I fucked up before like the butterfly effect tried to whatever. You can't do it anymore. They're too smart. I swear they're auto saving every like half a second. Just like, no, because I've tried. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to restart this whole last game right now because I cannot live with that choice.
Restart.
Yeah. But Telltale, like, I really love pretty much, I feel like they can do any genre that they try to do. But by far the best choice-based creator of anything. Like, I love Life is Strange. I love stuff, but I'll sit here and tear it apart because I've played it a billion times and I'll be like, it's the same two choices, whatever. Like, I've dissected that game to hell and back. But something about Telltale just, like, doesn't feel that way, even if it does lead to a more binary. Like, Tales from the Borderlands is what I use to get people into Borderlands if they don't play shooters. Like, it is a perfect game.
Into Borderlands series from Telltale Borderlands.
No, literally got back into it because of it, because I just, like, hadn't been, like, around. Like, I've grown up gaming all the time. But it was, you know, mostly the PS1, PS2, Sega, you know, some computer. But, like, my family wasn't gamer, like no one bought it, like anything like that. And I remember I just graduated high school like a year before BL2 came out or something. And I remember right when I was like living alone, I saw like a poster for it when I went to go buy my first Xbox because I never had one and I wanted to go GameStop and get a used one. And I was like, oh yeah. And so I like, you know, had this like on and off kind of history of it and like knowing it. And then it was getting our friends into Borderlands. We were playing Tales and it was my first Tales playthrough. And it like instantly was like unlocked something in my brain where I was like ooh, it is such a love letter to the world that I just dove right back in and never left. And it's been years now where it's impossible. And it's a perfect one for people who like won't necessarily get into shooters, especially not like as narrative, you know, gamers. Like it's a harder sell because there's a lot there, but you know, you're running around doing stuff. It's an FPS.
There's and not so as much everything with inputs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's more calm at your own pace.
Exactly. But it's so well done and so well written and acted. It's masterpiece. But like between that and Wolf Among Us and I don't know, like I just genuinely, they're Batman games. Absolutely.
I have not done the Batman ones. Is that, I'll add that to my list.
Okay, so
I've done every other Telltale, and then they did The Expanse just recently.
I haven't played The Expanse. Yeah, that's one I haven't done, the new one. Because I was actually with Deck 9, the people who did Before the Storm. Yeah. I
haven't done that one either, but I've loved The Expanse series. So
yeah.
Amazing.
No, I keep meaning to do it. No, okay, so with Batman, pitch is, of course, Troy Baker and Laura Bailey are in it, whatever. The most canon version of Bruce Wayne I've ever seen in my life. Like, absolutely, he is fantastic. But Laura Bailey is Catwoman. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. They are so goddamn good together. I have never given a fuck about this dynamic in my life. And the new Batman movie is like, someone played the Telltale game and was like, I'm going to make it a movie and going to make it dark and edgy. And just like took highlights from it and put it in a movie. Like, I like the movie. It's fine. It is literally like someone read a Cliff Notes of the Telltale game. And like, we were all in the theater going like, didn't we just do this whole thing? But it's fantastic. And the sequel will literally import your choices from the first game. So it changes.
I love that.
It's amazing.
I don't know if they did that. They started with their bankruptcy stuff. They started to not do that with the Walking Dead. So I'm not sure if they do that now, but I have no idea.
They still do it for the Batman. I don't know any future like the Wolf Among Us 2 or whatever, but yeah. The most recent thing I saw was if you haven't played the first one or if you own it under a different thing, it'll auto choose choices for you and like run you through what you did. But that's all I've wanted because it's like you end with so many different endings with the first one in a way that it was one of the first, if not the only like choice-based game where I was like, truly the choices matter because this is an entirely different plot line, like entirely different. So worth it, absolutely worth it. And I'm not even a Batman stan. I just keep thinking about it because people keep bringing up Kill the Justice League, obviously, and I'm just like, y'all are sleeping on Telltale Batman. Like, it's so good. You want to talk about lore? It's here. It's so good. Like a Two-Face thing. Everyone's so good in it.
There's so many games to play. Not enough time.
Not enough time. I have an embarrassing amount on my Steam library, and especially the PlayStation one since they started doing the, free game month kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I like hundreds of games, and I've played, a handful, spaghetti at the wall of them.
Yeah, it's just crazy. That's what, like, with the subathon stuff, that's where I try to get into games that are kind of either scary, not really horror, but just like in that weird dystopian type of area where it's like adjacent, not like jump scares, but in there. I played Doom for the first time. Never played Doom for the first time. Also played that on a harder difficulty. Did okay.
Nice.
I am okay at shooters. So
the basics are there.
Yeah. So it actually wasn't too bad. And I love collecting everything. So that became I gotta find everything.
Oh, 100%.
All of the little toys and stuff, I gotta find them everywhere. Because I went through the first level and had no idea it even, like, there was collectibles and stuff until the end. There was a bunch of question marks. I'm like, what are those question marks?
Every time I will play a game and I forget how often games just don't tell you things to do in the game. No. I yell about Borderlands with that all the time where I'm like, it doesn't explain to you a lot of the shit we just inherently know now. Like, that's just not there. And so, games like, especially older games, I'll go back and be like, oh, this is a whole mechanic that is not spoon-fed to me that I totally forgot existed. Yeah. I played through Kingdom Hearts for years as a child and then got the like remix, and I was playing on PS4, got through the whole game again after just a brutal last 2 fights because I had no idea what I was doing till I realized there was a fucking crafting upgrade system where I could get a different Keyblade. Like, it had not occurred to me because child me never knew that. Like, there was just nothing.
I did that on God of War, the newest one, or the one before that. And I had no idea there was an upgrade system to your skills and stuff. Zero clue. I was halfway through the game at that point. And I was like, this is difficult. Like, I know difficult, but this is like, I'm spending so long trying to hit these guys and they're not doing damage.
Literally. No, I'm so bad at so many games because I look back through the years, I'm like, you weren't using any upgrade or skill system. Like, if something doesn't pop up, like, you have points to use, you need to upgrade this. I wouldn't know if that was the first thing. I'm not going to look around a UI, try to figure it out. So I would
be honest, even when it does pop up, I don't know really what it attaches to. And then I just move on.
Yeah, literally.
So you're talking about not leveling up in Borderlands, right? Like, or just like being underleveled. So I would be underleveled whenever I play Borderlands. Literally every Borderlands.
I can't help it. I cannot help it.
But I also would level up and not be aware that I leveled up, and skill points would just collect.
I'm really bad about that in 3 specifically.
I would have a scene on my OBS that would blow up the image of the skill points blinking. And every time somebody talked about my skill points not being spent, I would add another image somewhere on the OBS screen. So it got to the point where my entire screen was covered with about 100 skill point blinkings at the same time.
Amazing.
Because I just wouldn't spend them, and it just made it a little bit more difficult. Like, as I'm going through, a little bit different, you know? Because then if I spent it all, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. It's too easy.
Exactly.
Just won't spend them.
3, I just forget. There's so much in the 3 like menus at all that I still just, I stop playing it for a second. We'll go back to 2, I go back to 3. I'm like, I don't remember what I'm doing. And so right now I have like Guardian Ring, Vault card stuff pop up. I'm like,
there's so many.
I'm like, people be like, you haven't spent this. I'm like, I can't look at that right now. It's fine. You're lucky I remember the skill point. Like, it's fine. Or I look at the skill trees. I'm like, right. I try to play like someone I hadn't because I was in a Mara main. Yeah. So I'm like trying to do modes for the first time. I'm like, no, I can't tell you what I'm using. I don't even remember what I'm using. That's not.
It's working. You know, you're getting through your levels.
No, I'm doing a run right now that I've been neglecting a little bit before the hunt because I just, life and it's testing a lot of egos on the internet if they interact with it, because it's I have a hard time like retaining information if I'm not actively doing it. And so I cannot tell you a single thing about Krieg, no matter how many times I've seen. Like,
I love Krieg.
He's so much fun. I was always saving him for VR because I was like, oh, this is going to be best. And then it made me too motion sick with the teleport stuff. Come on, Uppy.
Right.
Come on, buddy. And so I was saving him for VR. And so I was like, okay, fine. Like, clearly I'm not doing that. And then I was using him. I made this like Bloodwing challenge thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I played him like for like a few levels in the middle of the game at a point, And I was just like, what if we like find a run around Krieg, but I don't know. And jokingly, my girlfriend was like, vibes only. I'm like, got it. So I literally can't read any skills at all and have to just choose based on like general Borderlands knowledge of icons and like guessing and just like whatever it is. And so I'm doing decent right now, but I
It gets
And
worse. So Krieg is like, once you get to the point where there's like, you can get into some of those skills that make a big difference.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And so the amount of times I've like figured out like, oh wait, fuck, that's a dynamite one. And I have to go back and like chain or like whatever. But
not the dynamite.
That's literally, I will have on for one thing. And I'm like, I just want to get to this thing underneath, but I know I hate this tree. And then I come over here and all these look fire and I forget to use fire. Like I just 100%. And people are just like, trying so hard to tell me, and I'm like, you cannot tell me, it will ruin it. Like I can't. So all I know is there's a skill in his left tree that has a picture of cheese on it that activates. I can tell every time I kill someone, but I can't figure out what it does, but I know I like it. And I'm just like, every time I'm just like, I love cheese. Cheese has her back. That's all I got for you, because I just can't. It'll be great when I get to learn him after I'm through this, but I'm gonna see how far we can take it. It's I don't know. It's literally, I think it's literally one of his very first skills, like in the Greek. Like it literally.
Like you max out in cheese. That feels about right.
That feels right. That feels Borderlands. That feels like the smart thing to do. And anything that's a kill skill, fine, I'll take it. It's great. And so I was just like, that's the only one that I know I like. So all of my skills are based around the fact that I like cheese and trying to figure out what it is rather than just looking.
Cheese and meat is like his combo platter.
Exactly. It suits him. If there's anyone to do that type of run on, it's him. But people like literally straight up, I'm like, no one believes me because I'm getting a Borderlands tattoo next week. Like I fucking like cosplay it, like whatever. It's just no one's like, you don't know Krieg. I'm like, I know plenty of people who are great at playing Krieg. Right. I cannot tell you a single thing they do or how they're good at. Same with Salvador. When people are like, why are you dying all the time? I'm like, I can't remember how to gun zerk correctly because I'll be like, why did my weapon suddenly swap? And then like, if I reload and then they'll swap hands again. And I'm just like, I don't remember ever if it's the right hand or left hand. No, none of the little exploits.
Did do a lot of Sal. So I didn't know him very well.
He's not my boy.
Just would use him. And I'm like, I don't know. Krieg and Zero were my people.
I'm so bad at Zero.
I loved Melee. So bad at Zero. I was so excited for Wonderlands when they did Melee stuff, and I'm like, it doesn't hit the same.
No, but I think they're close. Like I wouldn't mind like a Melee.
So yeah, it's so close. But I love like going through and doing full Krieg Melee and Zero Melee. That's such a it was my beautiful.
I really need to do like a full actual Zero because I've tried so many times. Like I want to start, but I'm so bad at using his skills at any given point. Because I'm just like...
You kind of have doing melee stuff or you have like sniper.
And that's the thing. I think I refuse to use him as a sniper because in early levels, he has such bad gear availability that I'm just like...
You use the Jacob sniper and you're good to go.
All I can find are Hyperion snipers and I'm not going to use a Hyperion sniper. Like I'm just sitting there. And so I'll throw deception out like fucking confetti. I'll just be like, cool. And then like move 2 feet. And I'm like, this doesn't... I forget it deactivates. It's not like a fucking, Tim or Zane kind of thing. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. That's I got his achievement because I literally did the glitch in the back of a car where I just kind of like kept like swapping with deception.
I
was like, I need to. So I've yet to do a full actual run. I've just done some weird level challenges with him. And I'm like, there's so many people who, like Mopey, all these people who just like, they know Zero. And it is like chronically embarrassing how bad I am at him. Like chat chooses to make me play him when they want me to suffer because they know I will get nowhere.
He was like my first character I ever played.
I should have done that.
So I got into Borderlands from Telltale and then went into Borderlands 2 immediately after because I'm like, ooh, shiny beams.
Exactly.
I liked looter and shooters and stuff, but I liked the universe that it was. I had no idea really what it was. Got into it after Telltale and went into Borderlands 2 and then I just never left. So then I just put in like the thousands of hours. I think I've like 2,500 hours or whatever, and that was in a short time frame before Borderlands 3 came out. So it was like that time frame of just playing Borderlands 2 until Borderlands 3 released, and it was just like 2,500 hours of just doing challenge runs and OP levels and whatnot. Just it was a glorious
absolutely
time.
Insane. No, I feel like I enjoy Borderlands entirely wrong for people a lot of the time because I just like raid bosses.
However you enjoy it.
Exactly. That's Borderlands, baby. It's fine. It's cool. Yeah. But someone has to, cry by the lore. I've cried on stream through playing the game and that's what it is. And scenes I've seen a billion times, I'll still sit there and be like, you don't understand. Like, this is like such a betrayal. Like, I'm like, this is a problem.
Big moment.
It's a moment and y'all are shitting on it. And I just, oh God, all the time. all the time.
Yeah, even though I've seen it so many times.
So many times, and I still make fun of it or do whatever. It just has such a special place for me. Like, I don't know many like, to the ADHD hyperfixation point, like, it's past that point. Like, it's definitely more special interest at that point where it's just like it's an extra limb on my body. Point. Yeah. And I don't know many franchises that have stayed with me like that. Like, I have a bunch of games from childhood that I get really nostalgic about, or will pull out every, Christmas and want to play on an old console or something. But there aren't that many like active games that I play like that. And I don't know. I never played Destiny though. I feel like it's now too late to get into Destiny. Like, it's just so.
I played Destiny a while ago and then got lost.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those games where you have to keep up with it.
Yeah.
You have like the weekly stuff all the time. And then it's much better if you have a lot of people that also play.
Exactly.
Like, then you have access to different content with like the raids and all of that. But the lore is crazy.
See, I've heard so many mixed things about it, but that's kind of the boat I was in with Borderlands 3 because I just default back to 2 a lot on the console because I was just playing it by myself on PlayStation because I couldn't crossplay and all my friends were PC. And so I didn't do any of the takedowns. I didn't, do any of this stuff. So I just kind of like vaguely consume. And so I'm sitting here going like, I've played so much of this game and I still have barely scratched the surface where even that feels overwhelming to, dive into. That I look at games like Call of Duty or Destiny or all these franchises that people have, that amount of obsession, that's probably a bigger fandom and whatever else and more content that I just can't crack the surface on because I feel like there's so many years I'm behind on stuff.
There's so much to just, you crack the surface that it's just flooding. So much.
Like, I haven't played any of the Fallout games and I keep going like, I don't know which one to start with.
Man, that is that's a surface to crack.
Exactly. It's just overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, I started playing the Fallout 76 like beginning of this year and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or last year, whatever. That was like, it is so different than any of the other Fallouts, and I did quite a bit of Fallout 4. But I was so like invested of doing all the side quests and all the other things that I eventually didn't even finish the main quest because I still wanted to do all the side quests.
I wish that were me. I have a chronic issue of just needing to like, I want to know story. I'm gonna keep on unless the side quest is related. I can't.
I go main story, side quest, and then it's just a long line of just side quests all the way every time. And then I'm like, oh, there's a main quest, and then side quests. I'll
see. No, that's why I'm underleveled all the time because I just like can't. If it's not related to the main campaign, like TPS does it better where they'll feel like related to what's happening or give you a little bit more. 3-2 a little bit gives you a little more room. 2, absolutely not. The one I always bring up is like Capture the Flag, where I'm just like, why the fuck would I just go randomly like Loath was taken and all this stuff? I'm not gonna go run and do this break. Like, I get so mad. But games like that have weird little like Resident Evil style, like here's a merchant, here's a bounty, go do this kind of vibe. I'll go run and do those. But Spider-Man, I think, was the closest I got to like, let me run and do these other side quests while I was playing. But I was so invested in the story that like, I think the forced pacing of stuff is what made me open up to side quests there. I don't know. One day.
Then they limit you behind being like underleveled and then you can't really do anything in the main quest.
But the thing I really like, and I'm sure there's a game, I think Cyberpunk is a game like this. Have you played Cyberpunk yet?
Yeah, I also went and did every side quest and I still have yet to finish the main, like, because then it popped up saying like, this is an inevitable change that you can't continue past this. So I'm like, I can't do it. I got to go do everything.
It will reset you right back to that decision though when you go through the end. But
I was so stressed on doing it.
No, I totally get it. And it's one of those things where then it gets me interested in one thing and I want to do that. But Cyberpunk was the closest to the Spider-Man vibe where I'm like going to a main quest and then something happens over here where I'm like live while I'm passing it, where I'm like, okay, fine, while I'm here. And I think that's what got me out of the comfort zone of like, okay, like this linear thing. And Control is a big one with that because Control, I didn't even realize the first time I played it that it's not linear. Like you can play it pretty much any order. I don't understand even now how that story adapts and works that way and lets that happen. I do not understand what had to happen behind the scenes for that or how any of that functions, but it's so goddamn cool. And I think does allow for a lot of replay value, and games are getting like Alan Wake 2 a little bit where it's just getting more actual open world, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Far Cry feels like it's in a bubble.
Like Remnant kind of like you can kind of go through and then come back and like it's a little bit more exploration instead of super linear, like a lot of games used to be for big story games and stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's what I grew up on, though. What got you into gaming, though?
So I only grew up on PC gaming.
Yeah.
I never really had a console, anything like that. All my family lives like literally the next house down, pretty much. Like all of my dad's side of the family is all here. And we would have LAN parties between everybody, like literally all my cousins, all my uncles and stuff. It is like the 25 of us or whatever would be just in a Call of Duty World at War match, just all together in the same little spot. We would play Call of Duty World at War was one of our big ones. We never really had online. We just went and just did LAN all with each other because there's enough of us who could do that. Age of Empires 3. I know 4 is like the main, or 2 is the main one for a lot of people, but 3 was the main thing that we did, that we all just would be in the same game against each other, just doing the most random stuff and like Red Alert and stuff of that thing. Just do a bunch with just my family the whole time and just have these huge LAN parties all the time. We would have, before like Discord and stuff, we would have just like a landline phone just there and on speakerphone, and we'd be a big group call between everybody, and we would all just communicate through that like while we're on the game. And that was my introduction of like gaming and what it was. There wasn't even a lot of online stuff, but then when that opened up and put a bunch of that, then it all expanded and everything. And then
you started hardcore, is like you were started with LAN parties.
Hardcore, like everything, a bunch of LAN.
You had a mini dream hack growing up,
pretty much.
That is insane.
So that's all what I learned, is just playing with all my family, like from a young age. Didn't have consoles or anything, so it's just all computer based, and that's I just never really used a controller at all. So that was an experience, because I know a lot of people like that's how you grow up, is using a console and a console controller, but I never used it. So I am awful at a controller. Cannot do it.
No, I feel.
I didn't play Last of Us, and then I just like couldn't aim. I would just be looking at a guy and then try to shoot it like the wrong way. I feel so pathetic on any of the aiming stuff and those, because I just feel it's another world that I never really experienced.
I 100% understand, but like reverse, like I was literally sitting here going like, no, I'm gonna learn mouse and keyboard, and people are like, just use what you're comfortable, or like some people are I'm like, no, I have a PC, I want to do this. My brain is like, I don't know how to like turn the camera and turn around at the same time when I'm in third person anymore, because my brain on console would just like be able to I don't even know. I could juke, I could do all the stuff.
I can't do the reverse. It just, there's too much that it gets worse before it then gets better.
Exactly. And then you don't realize. And I feel like I've been so far gone from console now, where I just like haven't touched my PlayStation in a while, that the moment I touch it again, I'm just like, I tried to play Control again not too long ago, and I was like, okay, let me restart it on here instead of PC, because I've only ever played it on controller, and even though I own it here, and I just started the first 10 minutes and I just kept dying, where I was like, I don't know how to do this anymore. Oh my God. Like I thought this would be like riding a bike. I thought it would be fine because I was always better at controller. No, that's insane. Does your family still game? Are they like still?
My dad religiously plays Call of Duty Black Ops 1.
Your dad's
like
hardcore.
Every day.
That's amazing.
Like he has tens of thousands of hours in that game since it came out, because that's like what we played a lot too. Was new Call of Duty releases up to that point. That's then when we got into multiplayer and stuff and all that. So Black Ops 1, he just will not leave that at all.
Amazing.
He will not.
When it grabs you, it grabs you, man. I understand.
He's like, I'm happy with this game. I'm like, okay. I was gonna show him like World at War, the new one, or I forget what it is, Cold War.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, he doesn't like the super jetpacky like stuff like that, like kind of basic stuff. I just didn't want to play it. So my cousins all got into World of Warcraft. That's their big game.
Oh yeah.
Their family plays a lot of World of Warcraft. Never really got into that one. Because that's a whole like breaking the ice type of thing.
Oh yeah. I feel like that's an egg crack moment. Like once you're in, and then it's
yeah. Then my brother still does a decent chunk of just like saw him playing Baldur's Gate, just like randomly and whatnot. So here and there, a lot of them still do play. And then like for summer break sometimes when everyone's out of college or whatever, they'll boot up an Age of Empires game. Like,
I love you. Gotta go back. You gotta go back to the roots, man. I love that.
For sure.
I think the only, not nearly as hardcore, but relatable is I still play the original Roller Coaster Tycoon when I'm nostalgic and go back. I don't play any of the updated Sims from nope, the OG baby. That is
a game.
it is a game indeed. And I even remember at the time when 2 or 3 came out, I was like 2's okay because it had some stuff. I was like, no, I don't want this new fancy new whatever. I'm like, I want to pick up my little person that doesn't have a description. I want to throw them in the water, or I want to make them go over and deal with this thing because I don't want to. That was perfect. It was perfect. I got to make nonsensical stuff.
But it's just the nostalgia hits.
It just scratched something in my brain. Yeah, it's I still, Sims is one of those where it's that was my big computer one because again my family just wasn't whatever. I played every single Nancy Drew game that ever came out, kind of stuff. That was the kind of computer games that I was around. But I had Doom at my best friend's house, so it was I got him into gaming. Is a lot of the claim to fame there with his friends. Anytime someone doesn't know who I am, they're like, no, she is the reason he is like this. That's not that weird gatekeeping thing. But it's I was the lamest. I was the series of unfortunate events adaptation game and stuff like that. But he had the Nintendo, and then his dad played Doom and some of the more intense computer stuff. And so it was the only time I was ever really around it. And then otherwise we had Nintendo at his place. I had the PlayStation, and we would just tear through anything we could console wise because it was the one thing that parents that need to use our console, they'd be using the computer in dial-up days or whatever. And so a lot of those nostalgic games, I feel I don't even know what it is about it that I loved so much looking back, because I'll go look at them. I'm like, why did I get so into gaming? Because these are so different from things I like now. And it's just
so much more basic than
God
we have now. It's insane.
Absolutely insane. I've such beef with ports between the different consoles where one would be so dumb easy or whatever. But I remember there was this one when the Wii first came out and it blew everyone's mind. There was a game that we got because my mom had been okay, here's Disney trivia and this kind of thing and this Harry Potter adaptation. And my sister and I weren't allowed to play games together because we got too competitive. She's older and she, had a basketball scholarship and she's now a basketball coach and a band. It just,
Yeah.
It would get violent. She was also 7 years older, so it was just a little bit unfair at times. So the punch bug game, anything, no. But we started playing these trivia games, and she was just such a sore loser. But that was the type of games we had. But then randomly, it either came with a Wii or it was just there when my mom was doing this QVC order or something, and it was Surgeon Simulator, or not Surgeon Simulator. It was oh God, what was it called? It was some surgeon anime game where you had magic powers. And it was Trauma Center, I think. Trauma Center was the name. And so someone comes in with a motorcycle accident and you are dying. They have glass in their heart. You have to take it out, and then you have powers. You can heal them. And there's this whole absurd, intense storyline. But you're doing surgery, and my mom's in healthcare, so I think that's probably it's absolutely insane. And I got so fucking competitive, and that was the first game I feel that we were around where it was just this very high stakes, not adaptation straight from something, or not just a simulator, not this fun family game where I was just there's lore, because it was an anime depth of lore in there. And then this very operation, but in the Wii, and this weird technology we didn't have at the time that just blew my mind, where I didn't even finish the game and I still haven't forgotten the game. That was such a formative moment of, oh my God, gaming can do so much. I've been so limited.
Yeah, I got a DS, and the main games that I played weren't really action based, but they were puzzle games.
Oh my God, really?
A game called Professor Layton, and it's this guy with a top hat and his son that they walk around mysterious towns and stuff. So it's this lore based stuff, but you find different stuff that's based on the lore, and then you have a puzzle attached, and it really makes you think. This is the point where you can't really walk through or look it up really, so you legitimately have to stare at this thing and have no idea how to solve this puzzle. And I have to go to my mom to help me, because I'm I have no idea and I can't get past this puzzle, and it's just stuck where it's just doing some weird critical thinking puzzles. Just it's just a fun, it's supposed to be a kid's game, but it's kind of upper tier of like actual difficulty, like of puzzles. And it's just this weird little, like, some of them are like word puzzles, some of them are like movement oriented puzzles, or a huge array that I don't know how they come up with all these puzzles. But
puzzle games blow my mind. I'm trying to get into Stardew Valley. I just got a Switch like a little bit ago. And it's one of those things where I just decide to remember my Switch exists and play when I'm like tired and going to bed. And so then I do like a little bit. And so I know every time I like see someone doing Stardew or something, there's just so much story and like things that are like, and I'm like, I don't see that right now because I'm just like, did I kill this plant? Is it dead?
To figure it out.
I have no idea what's happening. I genuinely like, I think I finished a season. I'm like, I feel like every time I play this, I just kind of like turn it on and go, oh yeah, that's what I was doing. And so I'm not exploring anything. I'm not playing it correctly and I need to restart it. But I feel like so many of the games that like I need to go back to more now because so much FPS is like control my brain. But like that, like those type of puzzle games or those type of just like very more simple. Yeah. Like the cozy, I guess, vibe. But that was my big thing with, did you ever play any of the Nancy Drew games? I know it's a very niche thing, but like.
I didn't, but I've heard about them and I know I would have been so about them if I did get into them.
I'm just saying.
I'm all about like puzzly games and stuff.
I just think they're worth playing because yes, some of them are fucking old as shit. But I've seen, like Gab Smolders, like recently, I guess it was years ago now, but like I randomly like had her popped up on YouTube and I had no idea who she was at the time. And she was playing one of the new ones and I went and she got so bad, and her and Jacksepticeye are both going through them where they just like need to play the next game. So they have these like streams where they'll just tear through a Nancy Drew game. And I'm like, because there is something endearing about it, but it's something with like that type of mystery, the lower stakes because it's kids, but like
that was my favorite. It was my favorite stuff. And there's some like weird, like we would just have discs of random computer games that we just plug in, and I still have my memories of them, and I don't know what games they are, and I still will search the internet to try to figure out what these games are, because I have it in my head where we've played these games and did all these weird little point and click games are my favorite.
No, they're so addictive, and like ones like those, like they were, I was a kid taking notes in a binder. I had, because like you were saying, you can like go look up puzzle stuff. And like I found eventually a hint website kind of stuff. But it's one of those where you would, before we had phones that would just take pictures of everything, like we would have to write down every code we find. We would go around, be like, is this a thing? And now it's even still playing it. If we decide to go play somewhere, like, okay, take a photo of that, go, because we know we need to reference it. It's just now a digital notebook where it's just so like particularly stimulating, and I've yet to find another like mystery game like that. Like I've tried like over like Siberia, I haven't actually like played it. I've like watched a bit of it, but like I try to get into like some of the like Agatha Christie or Sherlock Holmes, and it's not the same. It's just like not. It's something classic about it. So good and so simple. It's great. But I know I have so many of these like little very lore focused games in my library that I'm just neglecting. And it makes me so sad. So many. Like, so many. Beautifully reviewed, some people's favorites, like all this stuff. And I just, like, I'm sitting here going, yeah, I really should play that. And then I'll sometimes download it, and then I never open it.
One of my favorite, like, campaign games was Plague Tale. I just got into that and just did a playthrough of that. Like, beautifully done, in my opinion. And there's a second one that I haven't played yet, but it's both, like, kind of horrifying because there's, like, this weird thing of rats and stuff. But it's the story of like the two people and how they go about it is so beautifully done.
That's amazing.
I haven't had an experience like that in a while, and it was nice to kind of go through that, because I mean a lot of like looter shooter type of things or just looters type of stuff they don't go that deep, and
they don't
more of a hardcore type of storyline. And they have the twists and turns, but it's not like endearing at all. No. So it's nice to have like gone through a story where it's just like very much character building, very much like God of War adjacent of like two people interacting back and forth, and like the journey that all was. That game series is one of my favorites as well.
It's one of the ones I own everywhere, and I haven't played.
My gosh, I would very much suggest.
I keep hearing it, especially because I love Last of Us. Everyone's just like, you need to play God of War, and I didn't let myself watch anyone, like even like friends. I was like lurking when the new one came out. I was like, I'm not watching your stream. I can't even speak. And so I keep going to be like, okay, this is the time you're going to sit down and do it. And because I think I'm just like always like you don't have time to like sit and play a game. I'm like, that's what you do though. That's what you're doing. If you're like, I'm doing the work, whatever, open up Overwatch, open up Borderlands, do the thing, move on. I'm like, play a new game. That has been that in the Horizon games.
War, like if you have it or whatever. That was my first experience into it when it got ported over to PC.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it so much. It's a great story. I think it's better than even the second one.
I love when that happens.
Experience. The second one was still amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's the music and everything combined in it just elevates your experience.
There's something about those type of games where it's the atmosphere of it. Like that's the big brain chemical changing thing of BioShock for me, where it was just so immersive. It was the first game that did that to me. And I feel like
you're in the world.
Yeah. And it's such a specific aesthetic and the music and whatever. And all the like I guess are now not console exclusives, but all the things that started like those narrative games, because it's where most of those lived, did that to me. Like The Last of Us really got to me because the slow build narrative and the music and the atmosphere, but the gunplay, like I have criticisms about, all these type of games, but like that type of narrative met with that type of gameplay hadn't been done in my brain before, because everything had been so like you're saying, like that either gruff hardcore story, like not no time for sentimental, or it's a very like just sentimental, just this is what we're doing, or we're searching for this.
Then you're worrying about so many other things, but it's in those type of games there's so many just like you're kind of just focusing on relationship building in that game. Just kind of put more focus on it.
No, yeah, absolutely. I always laugh because I tend to write a lot of things where there's like, I don't have a brother, but I write in characters with brother issues and trauma all the time. And so when I got really into Control, I was like, it took me about 2 years later to be like, okay, what's the plot of this game? Let's think about it for a second. What's she looking at? I'm like, okay, shut up. And so it's that. But then my daddy issues, like every time where I'm like, if there's that type of parent-child relationship or brother-sister, or like any type of sibling relationship in a game, and I think that's why I defend the twins so much in Borderlands 3 and stuff like that, like sibling and those kind of parent relationships, like absolutely every time will work on me. They are so effective on me. And very predictable, but there's something special about them. Yeah, for sure.
There's just so it's again with like so many games, not enough time, because like those are longer experiences where you do have to put in a decent chunk of time to just be enveloped in the story and everything like that. And there's still so many more that I want to play. Like Outer Worlds is another one I haven't played. I want to. There's so many, too many. And then I'll finally cave usually when like someone around me will like get into it or like make me do it, or I'll play it with them. But so many single player games I have that are just, completely slept on, that I get why people like, well, they're like, oh, I picked it up. I'm like, no, but I understand how hard it is to play, but I need you to play it. Like I need to talk about it. Yeah, and I think about how many games I've bought it. Yeah, all the time. I'm like that with, have you heard of After Party? I may have watched it. Somebody play it because that sounds so very familiar.
Two best friends end up in hell and they have to drink their way out, party Satan, to get out of hell. It is chaotic and fantastic and funny, and is one of those just like very specific games that I'm like, okay, no, you're gonna like you gotta trust me. You gotta trust me. Like it's a quick little experience. Like it's fine. Like you can do it in a few hours, like one afternoon, like sitting there and like I forget how long it is. It may actually be a little longer, but when you're doing a gaming session, it's whatever. Yeah. But I think that's my issue with stuff like God of War and stuff, where my brain is so used to like, I'm gonna sit down and like, oh, we can play this game and beat this game. And so when I'm like busy and doing stuff, I'm like, well, no, start that one. It's like less physics, you want to whatever, and then it just never happens. Yeah. And I hate that. Sure. I hate it so much.
Like you have to do it in multiple different sessions. It is. So then you're like, I have to do it, but then I can just do it another time because then it's going to be another day.
Yeah. How did you like Alan Wake when you played it? It was the first one, right?
I very much enjoyed it. It was a very like so many twists and turns and stuff. Where it's just there's so much going on. I understand why people like talk about it so much. I love it. I need to play the second one now.
It is so different.
But I wanted to play the first one first, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, so like, there's some games where you can like, you could skip to the next one because it's not super story based. But in those games,
you arguably could with Alan Wake. But since you've already played Control, like it's clearly setting up its whole universe. Like, go back and play it because you're just gonna enjoy it more having that lore and that background and having gone through that fight for Alice and like all this stuff. Like it just makes it better. but I didn't expect it to be like survival horror. And so like when it like it's just so worth playing, but it goes so many different directions. It's truly just a unique, weird game that deserves the hype it got, honestly. And
I do wish I did play it earlier because it does feel
it's
dated.
It's very dated. It is very dated.
But like I can think back at the time I was like, this would have been crazy. Like there was nothing. I don't think there's anything out there that could like compare itself to at that point.
Oh no, I don't think so either. But how did you feel about the last line? That last moment in the game. Do you remember it all? It's not a lake, it's an ocean. Cut to black.
Oh, that was just like what?
Literally,
like it's just this, like you think that's when you sit back in your chair, you're like, huh?
It felt like one of those like when people would joke about Lost and then they all woke up or something. Like my girlfriend was so mad. Like they played it years ago before like when it came out, and then when we were playing through it, because I also played it late, but it was still like years ago, so it was dated but not like that dated yet. And like I think the Xbox One was still out, and we were playing it and we get to that part and the rants I just hear every time this comes up, and I'll be like, well, they say something about it and she's like, I don't care. Like it's dumb. Like the rage. It was like the Sopranos cutting off the black screen kind of moment for her.
It's just like, I mean, it all is like anything of that where it's like kind of everything that you didn't really make a difference, but it's still like you went through this whole thing. Yeah. It was a whole everything wrapped up that it's just, you still went through it all together. You're just like, now what? Like that's more of how I see it. It's like, now that we did that, now what are we gonna do? Like next time, like you set up this world, this universe where you can build on it in whatever way. So I'm not really mad at those type of things. Where it kind of is a cop out for some things, but like you still have it. Like the experience was still had. Yeah, I feel I just ignore like seasons of TV shows where I feel like, oh, that went wrong. Like, nope, we're sticking with these. Like, I'm good about that. But I feel like my grace with games comes from the fact that like I don't know how you really end a game satisfyingly half the time. Like, I can't think of many games, if really any off the top of my head. I feel like I've had this fight before, but where the final boss is like satisfying, or the best boss, or the hardest spot. Like, it's just games in general, I feel like you, especially the longer campaigns, if you're going through something or a story base, you're just kind of like, okay, yay, we all win and it's good, or it's bad, or what is this conclusion here? Like, what do you do with all this? Especially on games that like there was a continuation. Like ending of a series or ending of like fully end where there's no like continuation that is so much easier to end, like Walking Dead series.
I was gonna say like Telltale stuff or things like that.
End of like this is it.
This is the binary moment. This is what's happening. Yeah, absolutely. Versus just like anything open world, anything whatever. Like the end of Far Cry 5 is one of those where I still just go like, what the fuck did I just like I can't. How is that an ending? But also, how do you end that? Like, there's no. I don't have a better pitch for how to end it.
Anything that's like open world, like when you finish the campaign or whatever, and then you're like, oh, you're back in the world. Like, you're kind of like, well, I did it, but now I can still finish things. But it's not the same.
No, which is why I think I like how Cyberpunk does it, though, where you can get like a closure ending and then rewind back, basically. But then I'm also like, but like, then what's the point of all the guns and gear you get at the end and like through this thing? Like, it's a very hard thing of any experience. It's just like, I would not want to be put in charge of that. No. And every time I think about it, I'm like, it's probably why I'm drawn to narrative, because it's like, oh, there we go. We have a conclusion and, we can go there. But my God, game series get so convoluted anyway that everything has to end with like oh no, here's the next, oh my God, elevation to like tie in for a sequel, or it needs to be open-ended because otherwise they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. And it's impossible task, I feel like.
You have to end it, but then also pique interest again.
And also be better than the one before. So, like, is that like a bigger twist or a whatever? Like, it's,
Like Last of Us stuff. I haven't done the second one.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay.
I know that's still. Yeah. I was waiting for the remaster and now it's here. Now I have to play it. But, like the first one, like they did all the things and then they were like, it ended, but then there was just like another section of like
Yeah.
what's next type of
Yeah.
thing. Like it happened and I'm like, wait, there's more, but we just went through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like you hike up a hill to get to the end scene. Like that's like it.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Like could have, yeah.
Like we're plateauing right here. Let's stay in.
Which I appreciate because that end scene is really like etched into my brain.
Retrospective.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like everything that we just did. And then it's also like, I don't know where to go from here. Like,
it's so necessary for everything into like that moment. But like playing it every time, I'm always just like, okay, we're clearly the end of the game. So like, what are we like? I don't.
We went through this big process and now we're kind of on the down. And
now we're like, literally hiking up a hill.
How are we wrapping it up?
And I don't know, like, I'm assuming I don't have to fight anything because that'd be weird to have to fight. So I'm just kind of like.
I was looking around still.
I know.
Stuff.
I don't like, do I loot this thing? Do I look over like every time?
Man.
Just, yeah. But 2's great.
Okay,
2's polarizing, but it's, I may like it more. I may like it more. Yeah.
I definitely have to. That's on my to play list for
It's
sure.
one of those that I still like. If I hear people haven't played BioShock, I'll like be like, okay, I'm gonna like shut the fuck up about like things. If that somehow hasn't been the Sixth Sense spoiled for you, like great, have that experience. Last of Us 2 is one that I literally have a command in chat that like I will like if anyone brings up anything adjacent to The Last of Us, I'm like, no one fucking tell a Last of Us 2 spoiler. I even know if you're hinting, I know anything because let these people have that experience because I'm so mad at like leaks in this and people just like for the meme, whatever. Because but even then, like it's worth it. But I had such a hard time playing that game where I just like would get so mad and like stop it for a bit. And I remember 1 2-week period, I just went like, I don't know. And like these, like I'm gonna tattoo this game. Like I fucking love this game.
Right.
And I would go back to it. And it's one of those games that like genuinely got to me on so many levels where it was just like, it was so well done. It's infuriating how well done it is. And it's not afraid to like, you know, have that moment where you're just kind of like, what now? But it just doesn't, I don't know. It does it in a way that I haven't seen in a lot of games that I really wish people would play it again if they like had their first experience like spoiled or didn't love it or whatever. Cause it's truly a very, very specific narrative. I keep using that word, but it is. It's a very specific narrative.
It is. Super enjoyed it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It. There's just somewhere you just like that was. I enjoyed my experience.
Yeah. Have you total non-sequitur but related for me? Have you ever watched the TV show Hannibal on NBC?
I watched a couple episodes. I always get distracted though. Okay. I'm terrible
it's a very
at finishing series. Very very bad. But I did see. I think I watched a decent chunk on like Netflix and then they took it off Netflix.
Yeah, it like hops around between Prime, Hulu, Netflix all the time, and I don't know why. Fantastic
show. I did watch
show.
Some of it. It was great.
Very slow talking.
But now I'm like, I have this thing with shows though that I'll get distracted and then get through like 2 seasons or whatever, and there's 8 seasons. What you know? Yeah. But then I'm like, do I rewatch what it is?
Oh no,
it's been a year, or do I? I've decided now to save myself time is to watch a recap on YouTube.
That's smart.
Of seasons, because I'm like, that is a lot of time.
Yeah, it is a lot of time, and then you lose momentum again. It's a whole thing. I just my perfect like comparison to that is season 2 of that show, because there are 3 seasons and season 3 is like split between 1 and 2. But like season 2 of that show is the singular most infuriating feelings anything that has ever happened to me in my life. Like it is so artful, so goddamn good, so emotional, beautiful season. Absolutely fantastic season. I hated it the entire time with such love. Like it's one of the best seasons I've ever seen. Absolutely raging. And that's how I felt about Last of Us 2, where I was just like the entire time, like with Hannibal, it's one of those things where like, you know what's going on as the audience because it's telling you exactly what's going on, but no one fucking else does. So you feel like you're insane. And it's just
person feeling. I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah, it's not trying to like trick you or twist things or whatever. It's literally having you in on it. And it is infuriating, and not in the same like reasoning for that, but like that feeling I hadn't felt except for The Last of Us 2, where it was one of those things where I was just like hating myself playing it. Like absolutely.
The way of like they're telling you, but not being super outright, and there's some like big moments that leads up to it. I mean, some games do it so differently of like slow hints here and there until a big moment.
Oh yeah.
Or they just, you are aware, but people don't know either.
You don't know until you like
it is a weird writing of like so many different ways that you can experience games, which is the fun of them, really.
Oh yeah, it's like, so fun.
so many different ways that your characters know, you don't know.
Okay, the thing I'll toss you to like put a pretty bow on it is however you want to interpret it. Karma had like a little little moment with it because I feel like it's always hard for people to pick the fifth. It's always like they want to do 4, they want to do 6. So however you want to interpret it, whether it's your favorite or what, 5 games on a like put it in a time capsule and leave it for people. So whether these are the best games ever made, which is how this started. Like I was talking to the Tomb Raider dev at a bar one day at a con randomly. We had hours long conversation talking about all these games. And then this question came up and we like, it was like one of the most exciting things. I'm like, oh, I want to ask everyone this because it just sends people in this existential kind of moment where you're like, okay, well, I need to put in like different genres in there. So like just 5 games, if you had to like throw in a time capsule, whatever that means to you, what would you say?
Oh, man. Okay. I have to do Borderlands 2 because that really got me into like in a certain genre in streaming, like in a community, learned all these people, learned the game, became one with everybody. Like during the time frame of Borderlands 2, before pre-Borderlands 3, was only playing Borderlands 2 and just being totally enveloped in the community and getting to know everybody. It was a fantastic time. Like it was just a good time in gaming of just like everyone. Borderlands 3 wasn't even announced. Like the time of Borderlands is like everyone's just here just to have fun because Borderlands 3 is not here yet. Like we're just having fun in the community and everybody it's just having fun to have fun. So I have to put Borderlands 2 with how many hours I've put into that game.
I absolutely understand.
I definitely have to put Borderlands 2. It's just hard to put Borderlands 3 because it's kind of adjacent if we're gonna.
Exactly. Then it gets hard where it's just like,
it also was very much a big turning point for me as well as a creator. Going into that as well. So I kind of have to put that.
Listen, people who don't like one or the other will swear they're very different. So like, I mean.
Yeah, so I'll have to put probably Borderlands 2 and 3 as a collective, as like my journey as in knowing games and creation and stuff like that. I think now I have to put Tarkov as a new endeavor. It
sounds special. It sounds like a really unique experience.
I didn't understand it before, but then literally I played it after I graduated. I then said, I'm going to try to go full time on content creation and stuff like that. If I'm going to try it now, then I could use my degree later if I want to and stuff like that. Because I've already been doing it at 5 years at that point.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to try it. And I literally played Tarkov almost right out of graduation to try something new. And I just got completely, it took over.
Yeah, I understand.
Because it is so involved that you need to be so, like, you catch this bug. Where it is so much stuff to learn and so many things that you can do that it just took over whatever game that I was playing at that time. I just really wanted to spend all my time learning that game and then into getting into Tarkov community and stuff like that.
And then you sold your soul and you're like,
everything like that. Yeah. It's just completely different, but it's so hardcore in the sense of how much knowledge you have to learn. And then how you can use that knowledge and teach people too, because there is no tutorial in that game, by the way. There is 0 tutorial.
Beautiful. Yeah, put this in the best capsule.
Do it to other people to learn.
Honestly, smart though. It does force community if you can get off the ground there. It
forces community, and everyone hates it too.
There's nothing like playing a game obsessively that people hate playing. Like it's just that type of
level of stuff.
It is, but it's a level of love. Like it's just.
Oh yeah, you hate it, but like that's the only thing that you're gonna play. Like
it's a very specific bond. Exactly.
I think I then have to go back to my growing up on video games and do Age of Empires 3.
Nice.
Was many hours of all the LAN parties and everything of that nature. That we spent so many times. Like we then had to come up with our own rules because people were winning on just doing some random stuff. Like I played the French in that game and they have these certain cavalry troops, and they barred me from ever creating them.
Oh my
because
God.
I would just destroy everybody.
That's amazing.
Like, we'd have to come up with rules like, you can't play this civilization because you're too good, and we need to level the playing field.
Amazing. Forcing your own MMR. And like, I love that. I love that.
Really, that's how we had to do it, because otherwise, like, nobody wants to lose every single time you play the certain characters.
No.
But it was just a journey of like learning how to play video games, and not really necessarily like narrative stuff.
Yeah.
But just in essence of just having a bunch of people and having fun with family and friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think probably then for narrative stuff, I'd probably do the first God of War. It was the first time I really like saw what level of depth like games could really go to, that I experienced it before. That was even before I played like Walking Dead. Walking Dead would be added, but I can't. It's so tough. It's so tough. Like any super heavy narrative game that I knew it was an entire experience that you can't really get very many other games that have a full everything of anything that I wanted to focus on, I could do and just go at my own pace. But like with their narration and the music all enveloping you into this storyline, I probably have to go put that on there. I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and I do want to go back to it at some point too, because it's just the experience I had, it was amazing.
No, that's a hell of an endorsement. I love it. I'm sold. It's the most impassioned speech someone has gave me to play the game. It's the most likely to get me to play it.
It really is its own story of building. There's so many emotions.
Yeah.
But the music, I don't know if you've like heard the soundtrack or anything of that nature.
I've heard
before.
only a couple songs when they're in like playlists go, but I played French horn for like 10 years. Like
oh my gosh, the
music, game music. I just anything with a good horn swell, I'm gonna just like
gosh, you will be
sold there. Downloading tonight.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, the music, the ensemble they have, and both games have it, and they do it at the Game Awards and stuff at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They literally have the orchestra play God of War music because it is so beautiful.
They do a Game Awards concert here at the Hollywood Bowl because I'm in LA every year, and every time it falls on a day where we just can't go because like something big, like it's a play opening for someone or like whatever, I'm like, motherfucker, and I want to go so bad because they literally will take like those years like not and like just put, and it's LA Phil, and I'm like I need to go because I just feel like I just be crying the whole time. Yeah.
Oh, it is such good music too. Just like any audio stuff is, I don't think people just don't know that it's there a lot of the time.
Good audio you don't realize is there.
Yeah. That's it. It's just, it's not a hindrance to you or anything like that, but it can really elevate somebody's experience in like storytelling and just being a part of the world.
Oh, that's the thing with the indie movies all the time where people are like, they skimp on audio. And I'm like, no, that is the thing where your thing can look bad. But if it's good audio, people won't notice it as like, but if you have bad audio, people won't watch it. Like that is just, it matters.
Something
and when music.
So necessary, but you don't really respect it for what it is.
Exactly.
When you're, like watching it. Otherwise, you're just turning it off.
Borderlands music does a lot of the heavy lifting with a lot of moments like that, where it's just like the pacing of it is so good. And but like Elden Ring music, like Halo 3 music, all the like big ones, like anything Jeremy Soule is just so absolutely game changing.
Like if you think of the bigger games, they have like that audio experience that you can reminisce on a certain song.
They have like a John Williams, Hans Zimmer type of score where it's just absolutely wrecking your life, and it's perfect.
Yeah, that's what God of War does that extremely well. If for any music.
Good to know.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Like people listen to that. That soundtrack usually goes like the past 2 games that they've had. It goes like trending on Spotify because people just play it as a background, like classical type music and stuff.
I put it on like a dinner party, like have just like some little cocktail hour and like have people not know and just like put on video game music.
It would be like the video, like there are a lot and a lot more movies and stuff are also leaning into like the God of War music or Game of Thrones music and everything. They're just more leaning into it.
Yeah, we get a lot of like choir now, like the Reigns of Castamere are kind of like yeah.
And they're starting to do some orchestra ensembles and stuff of video game music and specific stuff, which is really cool. So I have to put God of War in there.
I love that.
It was such a good experience.
I love that. I'm sold on it. I will play it. I will play it.
So good. Oh, Age of Empires and God of War.
Oh yeah, Age of Empire, God of War. That's right. Yeah. How did I forget already? Amazing.
Homage to my
I think that's a solid list. You cover a lot of ground there for a lot of different reasons.
Past, present,
exactly,
and experience.
Exactly, and all good games. All good games. If someone cracked that one open, yeah. Very, very different games. Honestly, even
they are quite variety of games.
Yeah.
I feel like I can enjoy a big variety of games. Like they don't necessarily have to be looter shooters, even though that's what I've kind of done a lot. But I love narrative games and puzzle games. Just enjoyable experiences overall. Yeah. I think I don't really like do Call of Duties anymore, but like I can still have fun with like friends.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Anything that's like gaming with other people. Like you can have a good time no matter what you're doing.
You really can with the right game. Like again, like Carmen and I were talking like DBD. Really we're like, let's just all be Nick Cage and go into DBD and like just that's the way to enjoy it.
Nick Cage and
I adore that. I adore it. His perks.
He forced everybody to go Nick Cage anytime we play.
Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely. That is 100% like what we ended up talking about. We're like, no, this is genius and what needs to happen and would be one of the only things to get me back in DBD. So I feel that.
You can have fun with anybody. Like it's just kind of life stuff in general. Like you can have fun with if you just have a good group of people around you with anything.
It's the beauty of gaming. It's like really as shitty as social media can be and like all this other stuff. It's just games are the root still. It's just you're playing it because you fucking want to. It's like that's it. Yeah. It's so good.
And if you're not having fun, then you just like you don't gotta.
There's so many games. Like too many games. Please play any in my Steam library for me because I need to play them.
Man,
I desperately need to play them before I can buy more, and I keep buying more instead, and it's a problem.
Oh man, yeah. I got an Untitled Goose Game because I just want to play the most goofiest of games. I play them in the most goofiest ways, so I said probably. Goose Game is probably the game for me.
I need to tell you, Untitled Goose Game is like, so when I was doing the Bloodwing Challenge on my PlayStation, it was so infuriating. It would literally just be like at the point because I couldn't get on there, honestly. And so you would run through the game. You could not weapon farm. You could not XP grind. Couldn't do anything. And the earliest you got to wildlife, that's what you had. And everyone had to use the same gear after we established it was 0, and that was it. And so we would start like and see who theoretically could be, because I swear by she's the hardest base game boss, whatever, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I would get so frustrated in the way that like things would break, skags would break, wildlife would restart, whatever fucking happened.
Right.
And I would be doing it for hours and I would have a rage break where I would like force quit and open Untitled Goose Game. And we would sit there and be like, this is fine. And I would just go around and just like honk as a goose at the like for like 20 minutes to calm down, because it was like, I never get that frustrated when I'm dying a lot. I'll do whatever. And then it's like, those type of things where I was just like, I've died 45 times on accident. I'm going to break something. And I'm sitting here just like, it's fine. I have the goose now. And so I'd have like a rage break. And it was so satisfying.
Right.
We love Goose Game. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's so ridiculous. It's great to play drunk. It's great. Play sober and mad. It's perfect. It's a perfect game.
I like playing things jankily is kind of what I'm saying. It's just in a janky manner. Maybe people don't enjoy playing games the exact way that they're intended to, and just play it a different way.
It's a good descriptor of it. Yeah, I'm very just not efficient. I'm just kind of like, it
doesn't have to be the most.
We vibe check. We vibe check. That's what we do.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be the most like high damage, best build ever done.
Exactly. Like, that's boring for me at a point. Like, no, exactly. Yeah. I want to find new ways.
The journey of doing it so differently that nobody really sees that experience. And it happens in a lot of games that I play where there's just things that happen where you could have played it and you haven't experienced it because I'm playing it so differently. Yeah, like there was 100%. A scene apparently in Red Dead Redemption. I haven't really finished the game, and I know that's another entire experience. And stuff. But
two more than one, but yeah.
And there's an experience at the bar, and two in Red Dead Redemption 2. In the bar, you get drunk and all of this stuff, and then you go on a mini police chase. It's near the beginning because I didn't play too much of it. But anyway, you're starting to run away from the police and stuff, and I get so lost that I don't know where to go. So I actually full on run into the pole, and the police catch you.
Beautiful.
Apparently, you're supposed to run away from the cops and get out there.
Yeah, I've never been caught there.
Yeah, no, I ran into a pole and then I got sent to the police station. I woke up in the police station with my friend.
I love that they have that though. Like the new Cyberpunk update got me that with cops, where I would like literally went up to talk to someone and I didn't realize it's like grab instead of talk because it was the same cop that's in my apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Because
misclicks.
And I literally just suddenly have a cop in a chokehold and I'm like, okay. I'm just gonna. I don't know what to do here because suddenly all the fast travels turn off and you're just like,
oh no, you're like, here we are.
Okay, this is okay. Let's run because there's no ending here where I don't die. So
right.
Yeah, no, I get so lost. It's the best. It's the best. Yeah, I'm playing games.
Know in Cyberpunk, like I would loot bodies because that's what you do in video games. You just loot everything that you see. I just loot body, and then the cops are in here. I'm like, what is going on?
Literally, like, what did I do?
I'm looting.
Me and BioShock Infinite accidentally stealing from store. Like I just literally.
Oh my gosh!
I'll be impulse looting, and then suddenly everything is going to shit. Like I'm sorry.
And you just click everything that you see that you just like put in the pocket.
It's a lizard brain. I'm just like, I see interact. I'm going to interact.
I need to pick it up. Like there is no not pick it up.
Exactly. That's the moral of games. You just pick it up. And every time I haven't picked it up, it's a problem. Later. Like exactly. Usually
it's not a problem. But
yeah.
It is now. That or like in Fallout does that too. Where
good to know.
Stealing.
Good to know.
That one's a fun one. All of a sudden you're just like, oh. Okay.
My thing was in Far Cry where people would be talking to me and I would pull out the weapon and people would be like, okay. And I'm like,
all right.
I
forgot that.
Didn't realize. Yeah, you'd respond to that because I'm so used to like Roland talking to me in Borderlands. I'm just like holding a gun to his face, like checking stuff.
Yeah.
All the time.
Like, no. You just go and ADS at somebody and they're like,
yeah. Yeah. Suddenly they're cut off their whole sentence and they're like, what, you trying to fight? And I'm like, I accidentally pull a gun out to see like what's my keybind right now, and a cop is around, and suddenly I'm like, oh, that's smart. I forgot. I underestimated my audience.
Like, yeah, that does make sense. That wasn't a thing, but that does make sense. Yeah, why that would aggravate some people.
Absolutely. I probably wouldn't enjoy that. I would probably take that as a threat. I understand.
I too would be scared.
I too would be a little offended if someone I'm trying to help puts a gun in my face in the middle of like an apocalyptic scenario. That would probably be bad.
Just having a good time and they pull a gun out.
You're sharing a drink in a little cutscene, like celebrating something or mourning someone, God forbid, and suddenly you like go to switch weapons. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? I should not be in a video game. Like, it'd be fine. Yeah, it'd be fine. Anyway, did you I totally forgot the beginning. Did you want to introduce yourself, like where people can find you or anything, or I can record one for you if you don't want to, but like anything, we'll put it wherever, but anything you want to plug, floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay. So my name is TweetyExpert. I stream on Twitch 5 times a week, and I also post short form content on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook now. All of the places, all of the things. Posting all of the stuff. I have to nowadays. But just having fun and goofy time with gaming pretty much is the moral of the story of how I enjoy everything that I do. Just have a good time, hopefully with some friends involved, or just have a goofy time while you're doing it.
I love it. Thank you for joining us this week on DLC Required. We will see you next week with more gaming, hot takes, controversy, love, gushing. I don't know. Probably all the good, warm, fuzzy feelings, or more ranting. We know ourselves. Be sure to subscribe. Go check out TweetyExpert on all of the socials. I'm Speaking Line, and we'll see you next time. Bye.